The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Agriculture is the backbone of Kenya's economy, contributing approximately 33% of the country's gross domestic product. Today, our focus is on horticulture. Did you know that only 4% of the horticulture produce volume is exported, and 96% is consumed locally? Now, over 90% of what is consumed locally is produced by small-scale farmers. And that's why we want to critically look at the fate of small-scale farmers in the country. But first, let's have our food for thought. In the agricultural landscape, horticulture is the third largest foreign exchange earner in Kenya after tea and coffee. The industry provides employment opportunities to about 350,000 directly and supports over 6 million livelihoods. The key to the sector's success can be attributed to the use of the latest technology and availability of technical training. However, the horticultural industry continues to experience a number of challenges. Lack of market information, stiff competition, high youth exploitation by middlemen, low prices, pests and diseases are some of the challenges that the sector is grappling with.
Farmers are also constantly exposed to all manner of risks due to inadequate awareness and knowledge when they use pesticides. If you do not address these issues, then you see them in the appearing in the healthcare system. And we do not want that because it is more costly to deal with them. So we better deal with the issues that are there. And we want to encourage that we need to have conversations. There is a need for the government to actually invest in ensuring that consumers are safe and that the issues that are there should be arrested.
All in all, research shows that the future of Kenya's horticulture sector is poised to improve in the coming years if farmers and traders uphold food production safety measures, which guarantees safe trade and increased income for smallholders, especially in the global food markets. Tomatoes are categorized as important commercial crop for horticulture farmers in Kenya. And this is what takes us to Kirinyaga County. Kirinyaga is a mega producer of tomatoes in Kenya with an estimated annual production capacity of 63,000 tons, fetching the farmers around 1.5 billion annually. To get a deep understanding of the potential and challenges associated with this kind of farming, we visited one of the small-scale farmers reaping big from a very small piece of land.
Sasa niko na nyanya, niko na yenye nachuna, na kuna ingine nimepanda na kunayo nafunga sasa. Sasa hii sina shamba kubwa ya kulima juu sijafika hapo. Nalima kuota aneka, hii ni kuota na ingine ni kuota na nagawanya mara mbili. Juu naona hizi na kuna hii na kuna ingine pale bado kuota. Unaweza kuta hii market ya bei yake iko chini. Hii ingine unapata iko sawa, inakuinua sasa. Juu soko inategemea sasa hivi ile soko iko. Ile kitu tunafanya usikoze nyanya kwa shamba. Hiyo ndio ile kitu inatusaidia. Juu unaweza kuta hii haina bei. Hii ingine itakupe ama upate yenye ulichuna iko na bei. Yenye saa umepanda haitapata kitu. Tunaenda hivyo sasa. Ukiwa na mahali ya kulima ni hivyo sasa. Alafu ujue quality ya mbegu yenye unapanda sasa. Seedlings mimi saa hii niko na Crown F1. Crown F1 market yake iko sawa. Matunda yenye inatoa ni ngumu, iko na ile kubwa kubwa, huwezi pata hizi dogo dogo. Unajua kuna zingine unapandanga, unakuta hizi kidogo kabisa yote. Sasa hii Crown iko sawa. Iko na medium, iko na kubwa na hizo dogo, imechanganya kabisa. Alafu unakuja unapalilia, uko na manyua sasa. Hiyo ndio saa yenye tunaanzanga nayo sasa tukienda sasa. Panda na DAP, tunaweka DAP, alafu after 21 days unaweka mob, tunaenda sasa hivyo tukipanda sasa. Naweka fertilizer mara 3 ama 4. Unahesabu na 21 days unaweka. 21 days unaweka fertilizer ingine sasa. Kuna tegemea nini yako, mume yako inataka fertilizer gani sasa. Juu kama hii unaona sasa, nimeweka fertilizer mara ya pili sasa. Nilipada na DAP na nikaongeza sasa mob sasa. Weather ni challenge. Kwanza per day ya kwetu, weather inatukalia sana. Juu mvua ni mingi na baridi ni mingi. Na nyanya itakangi hiyo baridi. Unaona ikiwa sana na baridi, unaweza tu ona nyanya iko sawa sana. Lakini matunda hakuna. Ina abort sana matunda. Hiyo ndio challenge yenye tunapitia sana. Nyanya tunapika dawa after 1 week. Na kuna time yenye inafikanga unaona unapika mara 2 weeks mara 2 kwa wiki juu ya weather venye iko. Sasa wakati nilikuwa na kulikuwa na baridi sana. Ilikuwa inategemea napika twice per week. Challenge yenye iko sana. Ni mdudu sijui ilitoka wapi. Tuta absolute sasa. Hiyo inatusubua na zile ndawa tunapiga za nchi yetu ya Kenya sinakataa kuua hiyo mdudu sasa. Unaona unapiga mara kama 3 hivi kwa wiki na bado hiyo mdudu iko. Hiyo challenge hiyo ndio inatuumiza sasa kabisa. Ile kitu tunaweza saidika litotafutiwe hiyo ndawa zenye zinafaa zinaua hiyo mdudu sasa. Alafu ingine kuwe na unajua sasa area hii ya kwetu hakuna kitu tunaweza sema kuna mahali tunaweka nyanya itupe faida kama vyenye viasi sinawekwa wanangojea wanapata faida. Sisi huku kwetu hakuna. Tukilima nyanya ikiwa haina bei mzuri wewe unauza venye iko. Wewe unachoma unawachwa hivyo. Hiyo ndio tu mheshimiwa na serikali nataka tu watuangalilie.
The views that I get from my people are the views that I'll take to the county assembly. When I present the views of my people, then the county government will come and support the ideas that I have. And that way I'll help to get back to the farmers. If we can get value addition, that one can help much. And value addition hits different sectors. Because now we'll get employment for our youths, we'll also get good markets, and also we'll not have a problem. Maybe fearing about, maybe I'm a farmer, I'll fear that if I produce maybe my nyanyas, I'll not have good markets. If you have variation, maybe have some small industries back to our areas, that will help in capping that gap which divides the farmer and also makes the farmer fear about farming.
Good plans there, but before they are actualized, John has to depend on the volatile market. He takes us through his cost of production and projected returns.
Saa mimi nimetumia 70k kwa hizi nyanya. Na kuchuna saa nimechuna round in mara ya 3. Mara ya kwanza nilipata 7,000 sasa. Mara ya pili nikaenda Kawangwale. Siku ya kwanza niliuzia huku. Mara ya pili nikaenda Kawangwale nikakuja na 40k. Saa hii mara ya 3 ndio naenda Kawangwale na natarajia kabisa saa hii nitapata kitu kama 60,000. Kwa hivyo nikimaliza hii nyanya yote, kuchuna yote, naona kama nitapata kitu kama ya 1,200 faida. Nitachuna miezi 2. Juu huku kwetu tunachunanga once per week. Sasa naona nitachuna miezi 2 nyanya. Juu nyanya iko sawa na bado haijaisha. Sasa iko sawa kabisa.
Together with other tomato farmers in the village, they ferry their tomatoes together in order to cut down the cost of transport. Final destination, Kawangware Market in Nairobi. Next day, the business is good. By 9 a.m., John is done with the sales.
Soko leo haikuwa baya, tulimaliza tu mzigo mapema. Soko ilikuwa sawa, si kama zamani. Kuna mabadiliko kidogo tunaona sasa. Nilileta masaduku kave tulikuwa tumeagana 9. Nikakuja na 9 na nilikuwa nauza na 7,500 na bili nikauza na 8,000. Kwa hivyo soko ilikuwa sawa. Soko ilikuwa na charge hizo zingine juu kama saka hii tulikuwa tumemaliza mzigo. Tulikuwa tunakaa nayo, hakukuwa na customer. Sasa hii customer wamerudi kabisa. Tunaona faida sasa. Kuko sawa kabisa. Soko ina improve sana kwanza. Nyanya itapanda sasa. Juu tunaonanga vile inamalizika kwa soko, ndio tunajuanga nyanya lazima ipande. Nyanya itapanda, itatupea faida sasa. Kawangwale kuna freedom. Hakuna kufinyiriwa, mtu anakuja unauza mzigo yako, unarudi na pesa. Kangoli iko sawa kabisa.
Tomato is one of the most highly consumed vegetables in Kenya, and its domestic market is constantly expanding due to urbanization. But many are the times when farmers decry low prices. The story of brokers, farmers, and the food market in Kenya is an interesting one, and you may want to have a listen after the break.
One step into a home and all you probably think about is the furniture and colors. But do you ever stop to think about the type of materials used to build it? The roof, the floors, worktops, moldings, or the plumbing. Here on The Realtor, we'll take you to different locations, different houses, and speak with different experts so you can understand what it takes to build the perfect home to help you on your journey of acquiring your next home. Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m.
Wakurugenzi! Madai kuna magic.
Round hii tumefungulia magic. Karibuni. Hii ndio base ya the best local entertainment.
Usijaribu. Uniwezi mimi.
Sema ndrama.
Yaani mom na dad wana fight na wewe kazi yako ni zodiac signs.
That girl is not his daughter.
Mademu wa telenovela. We got you. Na mamandem pia.
Njoro iko tu sawa. Baby! We, tumefungulia Magic na Maisha Magic Plus. You can now watch your favorite local entertainment on DStv Access and GOTV Plus.
Tumefungulia Magic. Starting from the 7th of October, Maisha Magic Plus will be on DStv Access and GOTV Plus.
In this episode, we have a number of experts who are going to shed light on tomato farming as well as market intelligence. Horticultural farmers in Kirinyaga have cried foul over exploitation by middlemen who they say are milking them dry. The farmers complain of the unscrupulous traders who buy their farm produce at a throwaway price only to make a kill in other markets like Nairobi.
We look at things from a value chain point.
Ricky Agoda, the chairman, Society of Crop Agribusiness Advisors of Kenya, talks about the need for market intelligence when it comes to addressing the issue of middlemen.
We are in the information age. And if you have information, you have power. To the extent that producers don't invest in accessing information, they will be without power. Brokers are actually market agents. You're a broker. That term has been, we've left it hanging, but remember it's a broker of information. The reason they maximize or make that coin is because they have identified over time where the opportunities to sell are and of course where the product is. So for something that is a very short time oriented transaction, they actually make much more than the producer who's been toiling there for ages. But like I said initially, if the producers do not invest in information, that is market intelligence. And that means you need to get organized. You can't spend the whole day on your farm, then turn around and say, serikali saidia. Yes. It does not work. You need to organize yourselves and say, you know what, we are tasking you, to do thorough market research, find those opportunities for us to sell. If it is selling by the roadside, find a location where we can aggregate our produce and, hire a small site and sell. I think that is really the only way to break out from, that whole point of, should I go into brokering, should I go into farming? And I am aware that there are farmers who stopped farming and went into brokerage because of that despair and the realization that they were not making money. But I think then again it goes back to how organized were they. Okay. If you work in isolation, it will typically not end up well.
When you look at the cost of farm inputs, it makes the production process such an expensive venture. Do you have alternatives?
Over time, farming or agriculture has tended to adopt technologies, sometimes to the detriment of good practice. And when I say good practice, the basics of agriculture will always remain the same. Take care of your soil, feed the crop well, maintain some level of moisture, you know. There are some basic principles that will never change over time. But in the drive to produce more, we have shifted away from those principles. So instead of taking care of our soil, we adopted, let's pump in fertilizer. You know, we can address anything in the soil by putting in some fertilizer. But now, you know, they say we've come full circle. You know, our soils are acidic. Our water, you know, with climate change, rainfall patterns are shifting really. It's a bit unpredictable, you know. Cost of inputs is going up. So it is now that we are kind of going back to first principles. And that's where we advocate for adoption of what we call regenerative practices. And these regenerative practices are actually what feed into what you describe as organic agriculture or conservation agriculture or agroecology. You know, there are very many terms, but the whole principle is about regenerative practices. Now, how practical is it? At the farm level, it needs investment, and that investment basically means you can't turn every single patch of land into a crop. You cannot crop every single patch of land. You need to leave some areas, you know, for different purposes. To make it commercially viable, then we need an enabling environment. Now, I'll give you one simple example. We are all familiar with the Dandora dump site for Nairobi. About 60% of the waste that goes into that site is organic. Basically, we can recycle about 60% of that waste into different ventures. One of them being farming. We can actually pull out compost and manure to push back into our farming enterprises. When you go into the rural setup with devolution, we still have the same opportunity. We have municipal markets where a lot of the food or the vegetables that are discarded, you know, parts that are taken off when it's been prepared for sale, or what is left over goes bad, is typically then dumped into a waste bin, and then it gets mixed up with so many other stuff. We see the opportunity through segregation of waste and recycling to already provide inputs that can support adoption of these regenerative practices.
Now you know. And so let's go back to the beginning. Tomato farming in Kirinyaga County. And Palma Kakali, an agronomist at Simlo Seeds Company, takes us through the different varieties of tomatoes and the best farming practices.
For the start, we do educate farmers on tomatoes, the farmer getting the right seed of tomato, certified seed of tomato, and we do classify our tomato into 3 classes. We have the indeterminate one, that is the long tomato, that can grow up to 8 feet. Then we have the semi-indeterminate, that's a tomato that can grow up to 4 feet. Then we have the determinate tomato, that's the tomato that's the bushy tomato, open field tomato. Then the tomatoes are classified also into 2 classes. That's OPVs, open pollinated varieties, and the hybrid varieties. And Kenya farmers are moving now from OPV to hybrid tomatoes, because hybrid, they do fetch a lot in the market. For the tomatoes, it depends with the region. Now, different region, different tomatoes are adapted to different ecological zones. Let's say for hybrid variety, there's some diseases that are attacked in one region and are resistant in another region. In an area like Kirinyaga County, people prefer the tomato that's classified as grade 2. tomato in the market simply because they are tolerant to bacterial wilt and fusarium wilt.
Tuta absoluta is a highly destructive pest to tomato plants. Crop rotation and the elimination of symptomatic leaves and destruction of infested tomato plants have all been used to control this pest, but it's still a nightmare to many tomato farmers like John in Kirinyaga.
It's a vital crop in East Africa and in several parts of Africa.
Salim Nasi, a scientist and the head of Technology Transfer Unit at the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, ICIPE, gives practical alternatives that can be used to manage Tuta absoluta.
There is, first of all, orchard sanitation, so ensuring that the farm is clean and there's no infested fruits that are actually, in the farm, so to remove them, to dispose them. The second one is perhaps to do activities of mass trapping using the pheromone traps to reduce the population density from the field. The third one is the use of what we call natural enemies. For instance, there is a natural enemy, Tuta absoluta, originating from South America. A natural enemy has been introduced in the country and released. So this natural enemy could contribute in reducing the population of Tuta absoluta. It's a parasitoid, also which is specialized in actually Tuta absoluta. And there are several mass releases that have been conducted in Kenya, and these natural enemies also could contribute in reducing the population. The fourth is maybe the use of biopesticide, fungal-based products, and also traditional methods such as the use of botanicals. All these can contribute significantly in reducing the population. So I cannot say that there are these alternatives can completely, but they can contribute in managing the pests and in order to ensure that fruits are produced without chemicals.
Salim Nasi warns on the use of highly hazardous pesticides to get rid of such pests.
We need to move towards a more agroecologically type of farming production because our food system as it is, if we have to produce food by destroying our complete natural resource base, it's not worth it. We need to look for innovative solutions that will enable us to produce food while being mindful of the environment and also the health of the people. Currently, the report shows that the insects are disappearing, and everybody knows that insects contribute significantly in ecosystem services such as pollination, such as bioconversion, such as biological control. So if these insects were to disappear, humanity will be in crisis. So we need to really, it is time now, together with other issues like climate change and other major developmental issues, to now shift to a new way of producing food that is safe and also healthy.
From the farm to a spot check on market intelligence, and lastly speaking to our experts on tomato farming here in the country, that marks the end of our show today. My name remains Elijah Mwangi. See you again next time.